Hello everyone, Jeffrey Shu here, and in this video we are talking about the steps to purchasing a pre-construction condo. So, let me teach you the steps to purchasing a pre-construction condo. Let's do it. The steps to buying a pre-construction property. These are properties that have not been finished, they have not been built yet, and the developer who's going to build this building is selling it to the consumers, and now you guys are buying this parking lot that will become a building, and then the builder will finish it, and then you will take possession of it. So that's what that is, and there's typically 5 steps to doing this. So this is, let's say, a timeline, right? And the signing date will be the first step of this. So it depends on the deposit structure. Every pre-construction project has a different deposit structure. So in this example, we're going to assume that the deposit structure is that you pay 10% on the signing date, and then you pay the remaining balance on closing. Okay. So at the end of this timeline, it's called final closing. So you close the place, and you can you get the keys, and you find a tenant or whatever you can do. But that's called final closing. Step one is signing the contract to buy the place and paying the 10%, and then step 5 is final closing, and then there's 2, 3, and 4 in between. So typically, when you buy a pre-construction property, you have a 10-day cooling period time, right? This is due diligence time. So within those 10 days, right after you sign the contract, you will not have time to review the contract. So you have 10 days to review the contract, take it to a lawyer, and do your due diligence, and make sure that the contract is written in such a way that you're protected. You also got the mortgage and financing that you got to make sure of, right? So if you're buying a $400,000 property, and you need to borrow 300,000, make sure within these 10 days you take this contract, you bring it to the bank, and you tell them, like, hey, I'm gonna borrow 300,000. I myself have 100,000, and then I can come up with $400,000. So these 10 days is really your due diligence time. Check the contract and check your financing and make sure that you're okay with everything. And then if you have any reason that you want to cancel, and it doesn't have to be because the contract sucks or because the mortgage doesn't work for you. It could be because my dog is barking and it gave me a bad sign. It could be because I took a dump and I feel like the dump gave me a vision and told me that this condo sucks. Or it could be like, it could be anything, really. So you can cancel for whatever reason. Nobody cares. On the ninth day, you email the developer, say, hey, I'm sorry, I have to cancel because my dog ate my contract, and we can't do this. And they have to oblige by it. Actually, developer will probably care if you cancel, but that's their problem, because we do have the 10-day cooling period. Step 3. So step 3 is color selection and design selection upgrades. So typically after you buy, they have color palettes for you to choose from, right? They already have certain standards, right? They could have package A, package B, package C, and package A might be like a white cabinets selection, whereas package C might be like a darker color scheme, right, with darker cabinets and light countertops or something. And then package B might be like somewhere in between. Um, Typically, builders do have an upgrade center for example, if you wanted nicer quartz countertops, you could upgrade that quartz to maybe a level 2 or a level 3 standard. If you wanted engineered hardwood, might be possible. So there are things that you can mix and match, and there are things that you can upgrade at color selection time. So they usually ask you to go to the building where you can see all that stuff. But with COVID, now that they might be asking you to do it on a Zoom call. Step 4. So step 4 is preparing for final closing. Okay. If we're in Toronto, right, there's actually another step between step 4 and step 5 because there's an interim closing. So if there's an interim closing, they're going to give you a letter that, oh, you can get the keys for interim closing, and then on interim closing, then you can get the keys, and you're going to need to find your realtor, you're going to need to find a lawyer, and you're going to need to start talking to your banks about financing because final closing comes real soon. So no matter what, whether there's that interim closing or step 5, right, you've got the letter to say that, hey, you're getting the keys at this time. Go start finding your banker, start finding your realtor, and start finding your lawyer to make sure that you have all the proper information to know what to do in the next steps and prepare your money and stuff. So step 4.5 is interim closing. Okay, you would get the keys and you'd have to pay something called occupancy fee for maybe 1 or 2 months, depending on when final closing is. And then final closing, step 5, right? You've obtained the financing, you've got your down payment ready, you got the lawyer handled, you got the realtor ready, and on final closing, get the keys, move in, and if it's an investment, then start finding your tenant right away. So these is typically the 5 steps when from signing date to final closing is what you would have to do to purchase this condo. Now, for example, right? So let's do an example, and the assumptions in this example is that the deposit structure will be 10% on signing, and then the remaining balance will be paid on closing. The other assumption is that we're purchasing in Calgary, okay? And because we're purchasing in Calgary, there's no intern closing. So we're going to assume that the purchase price is $400,000. Okay, and you are getting a 35%, you're paying 35% down payment up front yourself, and you're going to get a 65% mortgage loan. And the closing cost is going to roughly cost you an additional $2,000. That $2,000 is really just a legal fee to pay that. So on step 1, if it's 10% of the purchase price that you have to pay on signing date, you'd have to initially pay $40,000 right here. Okay. Now, step 2, right? You have the 10-day cooling period to see if this contract is suitable for me, right? If my finances are in order, and and then I'll need to make sure the review of the contract, and if everything is in order on the 10th day, I basically might have to sign something to say like, hey, I'm waiving off the conditions and I'm firming up. Or in some places, you don't have to do anything and the 10-day will pass and then it becomes firm. Step 3, right, is you check your color selection. I want white cabinets and black countertops, and I want this type of fridge, and I can do that. The fridge depends on the size, of course. But yeah, step 3 would be to choose my colors and choose my materials. Step 4, right? I got a letter from the lawyer to say like, hey, your closing date is coming up in 50 days. So, like your closing is coming in 50 days. And once you get that letter, gotta find my lawyer, gotta find my realtor, and gotta find my financing. So we've already initially paid $40,000, which is 10% of 400,000. Now, because I said that the mortgage financed me for a 65% loan, they're giving me a $260,000 loan. So I myself have to come up with an additional $100,000 for the down payment. Plus, I also have to find a lawyer, and the lawyer charge is going to be about $2,000 to find the lawyer. And then I'll find a realtor who knows that final closing is coming up, so he knows that he's probably going to have to get the keys if he's going to find you a tenant, that he has to maybe prepare some photography or prepare some marketing tools for you, so he'll know what to do and guide you through those steps. And then the banker helps you get the loan and the lawyer helps you get the keys. And then step 5 is final closing. So now you close the place, find a tenant, move in, and you pay the total of $402,000, right? Because it's $400,000 for the purchase price, and then $2,000 for the legal fee. So summary, 5 steps, pretty straightforward. Signing, and then you got the 10-day cooling period, and then you got the color selection, and then you prepare for the final closing. Once you get that letter, right, 45 to 60 days prior to final closing, you'll get a letter to say like, hey, your closing is that time. And then, get the lawyer, get the realtor, and talk to your banks. And then number 5, take possession and grab your keys. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. And, there will be other educational videos. So, you can follow me. And if you have any questions that, about real estate in general, you can always give me a call at 647-991-3669. Also below, we have links to where you can find me. So I'm not hard to reach, guys. If you have any questions, just reach out.